is divided between the East and West in ways that it hasn't been in a long time. The differences between the European Union's newer member states, because by and large the ones in the East are the ones who joined in 2004, so in the most recent wave, and the tensions between them on the one hand and the older member states on the other are in some regards worse than things that we have seen in the past. It's rarely seen in the EU that you have on so many crucial issues that are on the minds of the heads of states, a perfect, neat split between the East and the West. Whether it's the issue of migration, whether it's the issue of further integration of the EU, how much power should stay with the governments, how much should accrue to the European Commission, whether it's the sensitive question of rights of workers working abroad, the millions of Poles, Romanians, Lithuanians working in France, Britain and elsewhere, whether it's money. The big budget framework is being debated right now, the big budget envelope, and even on that one, how much money should go to Central Europe for reconstructing the new member states. Again, almost a perfect neat East-West divide. It's not good for the EU, it just makes it seem like we are incompatible in many ways. The one issue that most divides the Central European countries from the West by far is migration. Almost to a country, the newer member states have said no to the mandatory quotas for asylum seekers, and that's definitely true for the Visegrad states, Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic and Slovakia. A lot of the West European governments felt betrayed, they felt let down. They feel that, look, we've put so much money, billions, into the new member states out of solidarity because it's all we do things for each other in the EU. And when we want solidarity, when we want help with, in many ways, an existential issue for us, because again, the migration wave has caused the rise of far-right parties for many of the mainstream governments in Western Europe. Getting the response to migration right is a matter of political survival, quite literally. So for the Central European countries not to be seen as unsupportive on the issue, that really rubbed many of the Western European capitals the wrong way. The point the Central Europeans make, and not without reason, is, look, the overall EU policy on migration is simply wrong. We have lost control of our borders, and before you ask us to start accepting asylum seekers, let's actually make sure that people who are not supposed to come across the borders don't. Let's begin with controlling the borders first. But given that this is such an emotional debate, and given again the pressure that all of the governments, by the way, on both Western and Central European side are under, the rationality went out of the debate very quickly. It's turned into an emotional mud-slinging, and I'm afraid the European elections are going to make it only worse. We don't know each other as Central and Western Europeans as well as we think we do. There's a lot of assumptions and stereotypes that the Central Europeans bring into the conversation with the West Europeans and vice versa. On the Central European side, the view of the West Europeans is one, they are condescending to us. They think that we simply need to become more like them and everything will be okay. There is very little interest in what we really want. And there is almost a sort of a big brother, younger brother dynamic which the Central Europeans chafe at, which they don't like. On the Western European side, the way they look at Central Europe often is, look, these are countries whose democratic credentials are less than solid. Maybe they are not as liberal, maybe they are not as free-thinking as we are. Some probably think in some of the Western capitals that it may have been a mistake to enlarge, maybe enlargement happened too quickly, and perhaps we now have a liability in the EU, countries that are not fully democratic, not enough like us. There's a wave against us, which is not good for the European Union. Again, it's the moment we stop feeling as one community, as the moment we stop regarding each other as partners, it's getting really hard to resolve the substantive differences which will always be there.